In my video 5 easy ways to lose weight, I asked you if I should make a video on the amazing benefits of drinking water. You responded with yes. Water is and probably always will be the best drink for hydration. The company Lucozade made an ad claiming their drink hydrates better than water and was banned for the claim. In this list, we'll be showing you 5 amazing benefits of drinking water. Number 5. It cleans you from the inside. We all know water is great for cleaning us on the outside, but it has a similar effect on the inside too. Keeping hydrated helps flush out toxins in the body that can build up and make you feel and run less efficiently. Dehydration can bring on headaches, fatigue, constipation, and can even make your body odor smell more potent. It's often said you should drink about 8 cups of water a day. While that is perfectly fine and nothing wrong with it, it's not a tailored solution. For example, someone who is very large in either height or weight would require more water than someone who is naturally much smaller. Our body often mistakes thirst for hunger, so we're not that in tune with what our body needs. Sure, we still feel thirsty, but that's usually when we're getting quite dehydrated. Getting in the habit of drinking water regularly helps you recognize thirst signals, and you'll begin to notice that you feel more thirsty more often. This is an excellent sign, as you can now recognize when your body is telling you to top up your tank. Number 4. It can help protect against some types of cancer. I know what you're thinking, another one of these miracle cancer cures, but that's not what's being said. A lot of people get prevention and cure mixed up. Water itself cannot cure cancer, but it can help prevent certain types of cancer. For example, a bulletproof vest can help prevent you from being shot, but if you've already been shot, there's not much it can do for you. Research has shown that the greater the fluid intake, the lower the incidence of bladder cancer, with more significant results when the fluid is water. One reason is that urinating more frequently prevents the buildup of bladder carcinogens and again helps keep your insides squeaky clean from toxins. Staying hydrated may also reduce the risk of colon cancer and breast cancer, but it's too early for any conclusive evidence. However, what's important is that prevention is always easier than curing. There is no harm in keeping hydrated. It is a documented fact that staying hydrated leads to a healthier life. So even if in the future we find out that keeping hydrated has little effect on the prevention of colon and breast cancer, you haven't lost anything but only gained in other aspects by staying hydrated. Number 3. It can improve your mood. We all know being tired or hungry can make some of us snappy or moody. The same goes with being dehydrated, but it's very rare people link the two together. If you're always a bit moody for no real reason, it's probably worth a shot to keep yourself hydrated and see if you feel any better. An interesting study showed 30% of people who suffer from regular headaches manage to relieve their headache just from drinking a few cups of water. No pain pills needed. From that study, we can roughly assume that 30% of headaches are caused due to dehydration. So if you suffer from regular headaches, try drinking water. You may be part of that 30%. If not, there is a trigger for your headache. You just have to pinpoint what it is. It could be related to your eyes, too much TV or computer, muscles, not getting enough sleep, or even your diet. Number 2. It can prevent hangovers. With the new year fast approaching, I'm certain quite a few of us will be suffering from a hangover on New Year's Day. Well, here's a tip that can prevent that dreaded hangover. Of course, it's to do with drinking water. You see, alcohol really dehydrates your body, but since you're all drunk and happy, you don't really notice it. Only the morning after do you feel like death. Well, here's the prevention. If you can remember to drink a glass of water for every alcoholic drink you have, you'll wake up feeling much better. You'll still have alcohol in your system when you wake up, especially if you've drank a lot, so it's important to keep drinking water throughout the day. Consume more than normal to prevent a hangover from starting later on. And of course, eat. Never drink on an empty stomach. Sure, it may make the buzz of alcohol more apparent, but it's a recipe that will end up with you puking and feeling terrible. You really can have a great night drinking and wake up feeling fine, as long as you've eaten and have a glass of water for every alcoholic drink you consume. Number 1. It can make you stronger. Water helps maintain your muscles. You can work out loads, have big arms, but if you're dehydrated, your muscles are not working at 100%. Water is essential for cells to function, and if the balance of fluids in cells are off, they don't work properly. In other words, you can have big muscles, but not much strength. Think of it like this. Imagine two boxes, but one box is twice the size of the other box. The bigger box is only 50% filled, while the smaller box is 100% filled. Both boxes contain the same amount of stuff, despite the difference in size. Now, of course, this example is very simple and doesn't include other factors that can waste away muscle. But water really is highly important in keeping not only your muscles strong, but your whole body and immune system too. Thanks for watching, and if you have a video idea, why not leave a comment below, and if we make it, we'll give you a big shout out. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more awesome daily lists of all things 5. This is All 5, and until next time, feed your mind.
Reverse osmosis works by forcing water through a special plastic membrane sheet to remove compounds such as salts, organic compounds, microorganisms, viruses and pharmaceuticals. Rolls of membrane sheets are wound into cylinder-shaped elements. There are several elements inside each long-pressure vessel. As water enters the vessel, it flows over the membrane surface as it moves from one end of the vessel to the other. The membrane layer is extremely thin. It allows water to pass through or permeate, while preventing other compounds from passing through. Membranes remove molecules based on their size, shape, and charge. Generally, contaminants larger than water molecules will not pass through, including most chemical contaminants and all microorganisms such as viruses and bacteria. Two streams of water are produced. Pure, clean water or permeate flows across the membrane sheets and passes through the membrane layers to the inside core tube. Water that does not permeate becomes more highly concentrated with salts and other substances. This water is called concentrate. The pure permeate water flows out the core tube and one end of the pressure vessel, and the concentrate water flows out another outlet. The concentrate water can then flow into other pressure vessels for the same process to happen again, so even more pure permeate water can be recovered. About 82% of all the source of water becomes purified water.
Plastic is wonderful because it's durable, and plastic is terrible because it is durable. Almost every piece of plastic ever made is still on the planet in some form or another. Plastic production globally this year is expected to be more than 300 million tonnes.
Half of which we'll use just once and then throw away. By 2050, when the population explodes to almost 10 billion people, it's expected that plastic production will triple. The problem with that is that today only a fraction of the plastic that we produce is recycled. The rest ends up in our environment, and it's coating our land and our oceans like a disease.
Garbage thrown away in the United States can make its way to Antarctica. Plastic in our coastal waters is pulled into the centre of massive wind-driven, churning circular gyres. There are many other ocean currents also diverting the trash all around the surface of the ocean. In reality, it's just one ocean with no boundaries. Lord Howe Island is a World Heritage Site and home to migratory seabirds like the shearwater.
Seabirds are
incredibly helpful because they act like an army of scientists. They travel thousands of miles across the ocean. They pick up plastic off the surface of the ocean. They bring it back to their rookeries where they feed it to their chicks. And that provides an incredible amount of scientific data in terms of where the plastic comes from, its distribution, and how it breaks up on the ocean surface. Dr. Jennifer Lavers, she'd devoted her life to studying the plight of seabirds. Shearwaters are incredible birds. They migrate thousands of miles, stopping only here to breed.
Yeah, the stomach is very, very full, and if we look here, there's some very dark pieces, some very light white pieces, and if you see, as I push on this, it's absolutely rigid, completely full of plastic all the way up.
Oh, look at that.
Absolutely no doubt that this bird died as a result of that plastic. That is literally a gut full of plastic. It's quite alarming, isn't it?
Oh, that's awful.
Range of plastic types and colours. We've got everything from the blues and the reds
His
to the
stomach's just filled with it. Big pieces too.
big
Like
sharp
heavy.
pieces.
Oh, wow, look at the size of that big black piece.
That is an enormous piece of plastic.
Unbelievable. Look at the size of that. Jen, I counted 234 pieces of plastic out of that one bird. Is that a record?
Not even close, unfortunately. So for the species, the record is 276 pieces of plastic inside of one 90-day-old chick. And that plastic, when we weighed it out, accounted for 15% of that bird's body mass. So that's a pretty scary statistic. If we translate that into human terms, it gets even worse. That would be equivalent to you and I having somewhere around 6 or 8 kilos of plastic inside of your stomach. It's equivalent to about 12 pizzas worth of food inside of your stomach. It's quite a bit of plastic for just one little bird. The parents were trying to do the right thing. There's a lot of squid beaks in here, and this purple colour is evidence of the squid ink. It's just a shame that every now and then they got it wrong and got it wrong in a bad way. Really is quite an overwhelming thing. I do have some pretty rough days, have to go home and really wrap my mind around where do we go from here.
As a Pacific Islander, I know that the ocean is in deep trouble. The very authoritative prediction shows that by the year 2050, there'll be as much plastic as there is fish in the ocean by weight. Every country uses plastic. We need to start rationalizing that. We need to think about reuse of plastic, single-use plastic. It's got to be on its way out. And plastic shopping bags are a good example of that. Your family does not need to use them. Take a cloth bag with you when you go shopping and put your shopping in there. There's an equivalent of a large garbage truck every minute of every day backing up to the ocean and just dumping plastic into it. We really have to look at ourselves and say, do we deserve this beautiful ocean that was given to us?
All the water on Earth today, every drop, is all the water there has ever been on the planet. Fresh water is actually millions of years old, the same water flowing in a continuous loop, falling as rain and snow from clouds to the Earth's surface, running in rivers, pooling in ponds, flowing from faucets, irrigating crops, traveling through plants, generating power, eventually evaporating into the air and condensing into clouds again.
Why is there life on Earth? And the reason there's life on Earth is because Earth has this perfect water cycle.
The water cycle. So simple, even small children understand the basics. Yet so complex, the most advanced Earth scientists, hydrologists, geologists, and biogeochemists are studying every part and process.
The water cycle is fascinating. It's something that's around us all the time, and yet we don't really understand it.
How to summarize what is known about the water cycle? With 2 words, flows and stores. The water cycle is a series of flows of water between various water stores or storages. Clouds in the atmosphere.
There's always a little bit of water in the atmosphere. We talk about relative humidity. It's a humid day, it's a dry day. Either way, there's water, sometimes a little, sometimes a lot.
There's a lot of water in the ocean, 70% of all the water on Earth. In the ice sheets and glaciers, 2/3 of all the fresh water on Earth. In the snowpacks atop mountains like the Sierra Nevada. In the Great Lakes. In rivers and streams. In reservoirs and watersheds. In wetlands. In the soil, in and on plants and trees rooted in the soil, and beneath the soil, in water tables and underground aquifers like the Ogallala High Plains, which runs underneath parts of 8 states from South Dakota to Texas. All this storage is temporary. Water in all its forms is always in flux and always moving. And there is a name for every kind of movement in the water cycle, starting with precipitation.
Precipitation is the process of water falling onto the surface of the earth. You can have precipitation in many forms: rain, snow, hail.
Rain is falling water in liquid form. Snow, ice, hail, and sleet are falling water in solid or frozen form. Fog and mist, falling water in gas or vapor form. Precipitation that falls directly onto the oceans becomes part of surface ocean and can be churned by wave and wind action into ocean currents. Rain and snow that falls directly on rivers and streams becomes one part of stream flow. Rain that falls onto land takes a different path to the river, as does the snow and ice that falls and collects on mountaintops when temperatures warm.
When snow melts, some of it runs through the snowpack and goes into small streams, tributaries that feed into large rivers.
What about that precipitation that falls on and over land? Some is intercepted by vegetation, plants and trees.
Like you might imagine someone in the game of football intercepting a pass. These are raindrops trying to come to the ground, and the leaves on the tree intercept them before they hit the ground.
And the precipitation that does hit the ground, it can run off if the ground is hardscaped, covered with asphalt or concrete, or if the soil is too wet or saturated to absorb more water, like an over-soaked sponge. Otherwise, precipitation infiltrates the soil surface, percolates into the ground.
Think of it as the water percolating through your coffee grounds in the morning. Gravity continues to pull it downward so it will move through.
Through the topsoil, into spaces between soil and rock particles, down to bedrock and further into fractures, into deep underground aquifers. Even groundwater here is moving sideways or laterally, discharging toward a river, lake, or the sea. Generally, the deeper the flow, the slower the flow.
Some of that fractured water might take a very long time, thousands to millions of years to get out.
And how does water get back out into the atmosphere? It evaporates, is turned from a liquid into a gas or vapor by the heat of the sun.
If you put a bit of water into a bowl and you set it outside on a sunny day, it's going to disappear. It's still water, it's just in the form of a gas rather than the form of a liquid.
Water evaporates from every wet surface, even from wet air. Some rain and snow evaporates into the air while falling. Water evaporates through our respiration and perspiration, and from plants through transpiration. Trans means through or across. Plant roots draw up groundwater.
And plants pull that water up through their stems into their leaves and then release it back out through evapotranspiration.
Evapotranspiration, a spelling bee-worthy term for evaporation from soil and water surfaces, plus transpiration from plants. Evaporated water molecules are tiny enough to flow into the air, mixed with smoke and dirt particles in the atmosphere, cool, condense into visible masses of water vapor, clouds. Winds move clouds into colder air, water droplets collide and merge, grow bigger and heavier, until they are so heavy they fall again, as rain or snow, sleet or hail. Precipitation, collection, runoff, interception, infiltration, percolation, discharge, transpiration, evaporation, condensation. The water cycle.
This is the story of 3 plastic bottles, empty and discarded. Their journeys are about to diverge, with outcomes that impact nothing less than the fate of the planet. But they weren't always this way. To understand where these bottles end up, we must first explore their origins. The heroes of our story were conceived in this oil refinery. The plastic in their bodies was formed by chemically bonding oil and gas molecules together to make monomers. In turn, these monomers were bonded into long polymer chains to make plastic, in the form of millions of pellets. Those were melted at manufacturing plants and reformed in molds to create the resilient material that makes up the triplets' bodies. Machines filled the bottles with sweet, bubbly liquid, and they were then wrapped, shipped, bought, opened, consumed, and unceremoniously discarded. And now here they lie, poised at the edge of the unknown. Bottle 1, like hundreds of millions of tons of his plastic brethren, ends up in a landfill. This huge dump expands each day as more trash comes in and continues to take up space. As plastics sit there being compressed amongst layers of other junk, rainwater flows through the waste and absorbs the water-soluble compounds it contains, and some of those are highly toxic. Together, they create a harmful stew called leachate, which can move into groundwater, soil, and streams, poisoning ecosystems and harming wildlife. It can take Bottle 1 an agonizing 1,000 years to decompose. Bottle 2's journey is stranger, but unfortunately no happier. He floats on a trickle that reaches a stream that flows into a river, and a river that reaches the ocean. After months lost at sea, he's slowly drawn into a massive vortex where trash accumulates, a place known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Here, the ocean's currents have trapped millions of pieces of plastic debris. This is one of 5 plastic-filled gyres in the world's seas, places where the pollutants turn the water into a cloudy plastic soup. Some animals, like seabirds, get entangled in the mess. They and others mistake the brightly colored plastic bits for food. Plastic makes them feel full when they're not, so they starve to death and pass the toxins from the plastic up the food chain. For example, it's eaten by lanternfish. The lanternfish are eaten by squid. The squid are eaten by tuna. And the tuna are eaten by us. And most plastics don't biodegrade, which means they're destined to break down into smaller and smaller pieces called microplastics, which might rotate in the sea eternally. But Bottle 3 is spared the cruel purgatories of his brothers. A truck brings him to a plant where he and his companions are squeezed flat and compressed into a block. Okay, this sounds pretty bad too, but hang in there, it gets better. The blocks are shredded into tiny pieces, which are washed and melted so they become the raw materials that can be used again. As if by magic, Bottle 3 is now ready to be reborn as something completely new. For this bit of plastic with such humble origins, suddenly, the sky is the limit.
Nine incredible things that happen when you replace all drinks with water. We all know what harmful drinks can cause: obesity, heart problems, stomach pain, skin diseases, caries. This list sounds so scary, so I don't want to continue it. But what if we completely replace all drinks with water? What would happen with our bodies then? Chris Bailey, a popular blogger and lecturer, carried out some month-long research about this topic. His conclusion is really impressive and surprising. We decided to summarize his research for you. Hold on tight. These facts might shock you. Number 9, you lose weight faster. Yeah, you do. No special diet is required. You replace all drinks with water for 9 days. You'll lose the equal amount of calories as when jogging for 8 kilometers a day. Wow, this seems to be a great way to stay slim without much effort. I'm going to try it out. Are you? Number 8, you speed up your metabolism, and it, in turn, raises your energy level. Drinking just 17 fluid ounces of water in the morning increases your metabolism by 24%. Write it down on your calendar. Drink plenty of water every day, and you'll see the impressive result very soon. Number 7, your brain works better. Did you know that your brain is 75 to 85% water? Nothing else, just water. So by drinking, you fuel it, which helps you concentrate. Drink water to work more efficiently, cope with all daily tasks quickly, and stay energized even late in the evening. Doesn't this sound like a dream? Number 6, you eat less. Water suppresses appetite, which helps you lose weight. Also, sometimes we confuse hunger with thirst. If you suddenly want to eat something high calorie, maybe all you need is just a glass of water. Try it out next time you feel hungry. It really works. Number 5, your body excretes toxins faster. Water washes out harmful substances, preventing aging. Want to look young and fresh as long as possible? Drink a glass of water right now. Number 4, water lowers the risk of many diseases. Which diseases? Oh, a lot, like hypertension, bladder conditions, bowel cancer, and others. Want to avoid wasting money on doctors? Just drink more water. Number 3, your heart works better. Yes, it's a true fact. 5 glasses of water a day lowers the risk of a heart attack by 41%. 41! This number is really impressive. So, what are you waiting for? Have a glass of water to stay healthy. Number 2, your skin becomes softer and cleaner. Water clears and moistens your skin. Trust us, after a few weeks of drinking water every day, you will fall in love with your skin again. And number 1, my favorite, you save a lot of money. How much money do you spend on coffee to go and juices per week? Well, I don't want to say how much I do because my spending is massive. The price of water is much lower than that of other drinks. Think about it. So, have these amazing facts impressed you? If so, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're visiting our channel for the first time, click subscribe to stay on the bright side of life.
This is a story about a world obsessed with stuff. It's a story about a system in crisis. We're trashing the planet, we're trashing each other, and we're not even having fun. The good thing is that when we start to understand the system, we start to see lots of places to step in and turn these problems into solutions. One of the problems with trying to use less stuff is that sometimes we feel like we really need it. What if you live in a city like, say, Cleveland, and you want a glass of water? Are you going to take your chances and get it from the city tap? Or should you reach for a bottle of water that comes from the pristine rainforest of Fiji? Well, Fiji brand water thought the answer to this question was obvious, so they built a whole ad campaign around it. It turned out to be one of the dumbest moves in advertising history. You see, the city of Cleveland didn't like being the butt of Fiji's jokes, so they did some tests, and guess what? These tests showed a glass of Fiji water is lower quality, it loses taste tests against Cleveland Tap, and costs thousands of times more. This story is typical of what happens when you test bottled water against tap water. Is it cleaner? Sometimes, sometimes not. In many ways, bottled water is less regulated than tap. Is it tastier? In taste tests across the country, people consistently choose tap over bottled water. These bottled water companies say they're just meeting consumer demand. But who would demand a less sustainable, less tasty, way more expensive product, especially one you can get for almost free in your kitchen? Bottled water costs about 2,000 times more than tap water. Can you imagine paying 2,000 times the price of anything else? How about a $10,000 sandwich? Yet people in the US buy more than 500 million bottles of water every week. That is enough to circle the globe more than 5 times. How did this come to be? Well, it all goes back to how our materials economy works, and one of its key drivers, which is known as manufactured demand. If companies want to keep growing, they have to keep selling more and more stuff. In the 1970s, giant soft drink companies got worried as they saw their growth projections starting to level off. There's only so much soda a person can drink. Plus, it wouldn't be long before people began realizing that soda is not that healthy and turned back to, gasp, drinking tap water. Well, the companies found their next big idea in a silly designer product that most people laughed off as a passing yuppie fad. Water is free, people said back then. What will they sell us next? Air? So how do you get people to buy this fringe product? Simple. You manufacture demand. How do you do that? Well, imagine you're in charge of a bottled water company. Since people aren't lining up to trade their hard-earned money for your unnecessary product, you make them feel scared and insecure if they don't have it. And that's exactly what the bottled water industry did. One of their first marketing tactics was to scare people about tap water with ads like Fiji's Cleveland campaign. When we're done, one top water executive said, tap water will be relegated to showers and washing dishes. Next, you hide the reality of your product behind images of pure fantasy. Have you ever noticed how bottled water tries to seduce us with pictures of mountain streams and pristine nature? But guess where a third of all bottled water in the US actually comes from? The tap. Pepsi's Aquafina and Coke's Dasani are two of the many brands that are really filtered tap water. But the pristine nature lie goes much deeper. In a recent full-page ad, Nestle said, bottled water is the most environmentally responsible consumer product in the world. What? They are trashing the environment all along the product's life cycle. Exactly how is that environmentally responsible? The problems start here with extraction and production, where oil is used to make water bottles. Each year, making the plastic water bottles used in the US takes enough oil and energy to fuel 1 million cars. All that energy spent to make the bottle, even more to ship it around the planet, and then we drink it in about 2 minutes? That brings us to the big problem at the other end of the life cycle, disposal. What happens to all these bottles when we're done? 80% end up in landfills, where they will sit for thousands of years, or in incinerators, where they are burned, releasing toxic pollution. The rest gets collected for recycling. I was curious about where the plastic bottles that I put in the recycling bins go. I found out that shiploads were being sent to India, so I went there. I will never forget riding over a hill outside Madras, where I came face to face with a mountain of plastic bottles from California. Now, real recycling would turn these bottles back into bottles. But that wasn't what was happening here. Instead, these bottles were slated to be downcycled, which means turning them into lower quality products that would just be chucked later. The parts that couldn't be downcycled were thrown away there, shipped all the way to India just to be dumped in someone else's backyard. If bottled water companies want to use mountains on their labels, it would be more accurate to show one of these mountains of plastic waste. Scaring us, seducing us, and misleading us. These strategies are all core parts of manufacturing demand. Once they've manufactured all this demand, creating a new multi-billion-dollar market, they defend it by beating out the competition. But in this case, the competition is our basic human right to clean, safe drinking water. Pepsi's vice chairman publicly said, the biggest enemy is tap water. They want us to think it's dirty and bottled water is the best alternative. In many places, public water is polluted, thanks to polluting industries like the plastic bottle industry. And these bottled water guys are all too happy to offer their expensive solutions, which keep us hooked on their products. It is time we took back the tap. That starts with making a personal commitment to not buy or drink bottled water unless the water in your community is truly unhealthy. Yes, it takes a bit of foresight to grab a reusable bottle on the way out, but I think we can handle it. Then take the next step. Join a campaign that's working for real solutions, like demanding investment in clean tap water for all. In the US, tap water is underfunded by $24 billion, partly because people believe drinking water only comes from a bottle. Around the world, 1 billion people don't have access to clean water right now. Yet cities all over are spending millions of dollars to deal with all the plastic bottles we throw out. What if that money was spent improving our water systems, or better yet, preventing pollution to begin with? There are many more things we can do to solve this problem. Lobby your city officials to bring back drinking fountains. Work to ban the purchase of bottled water by your school, your organization, or entire city. This is a huge opportunity for millions of people to wake up and protect our wallets, our health, and the planet. The good news is it's already started. Bottled water sales have begun to drop while business is booming for safe, refillable water bottles. Yay! Restaurants are proudly serving tap, and people are choosing to pocket the hundreds or thousands of dollars they would otherwise be wasting on bottled water. Carrying bottled water is on its way to being as cool as smoking while pregnant. We know better now. The bottled water industry is getting worried because the jig is up. We are not buying into their manufactured demand anymore. We will choose our own demands, thank you very much, and we're demanding clean, safe water for all.